Okay, I'm going to talk to you a little bit, just a short piece, on the first Shakespeare Authorship Question MOOC. You may not know what a MOOC is, but by the end of this you will know what a MOOC is. This is what it looks like. This is the front page of Introduction to Who Wrote Shakespeare. As you'll see, it's on the Coursera platform and sponsored by Goldsmiths. A MOOC is a massive open online course. This definition says a course of study made available over the internet without charge to a very large number of people. It's certainly available to a very large number of people, as many people as would like to take it. You will find out at the end how many people have taken it so far. But this is the first such offering to be made on the internet. There are lots of different MOOCs out there. You may have heard of FutureLearn. That's the UK-based company that offers MOOCs. Coursera is the US-based company, and they have specialised. Initially, they were specialising more in kind of STEM subjects, computer-related. They haven't got a huge humanities selection of courses, but they certainly have now a sort of growing and substantial base. Goldsmiths, of course, are my employers. I'm a lecturer there, part-time. And it was actually the umbrella organiser, University of London, that paid for this course to be made. Coursera is a global platform, so it's based in the US. You can access it anywhere. You can access the course. Essentially, it's really geared towards English speakers at the moment. The way that Coursera works is that if people offer to translate courses, if you happen to be fluent in another language, you could translate it into another language, and you can offer up those. So essentially, it would come out with different subtitles. At the moment, it only has English subtitles, should you need them. It had 30 million registered users as of January last year. I couldn't get any more recent figures. That will have grown by now. It is growing year on year. 30 million people have not taken the course, I would say. Goldsmiths, say part of the University of London. What's significant about this is that most MOOCs are essentially academics, trying to reach a larger audience. So they are sponsored by universities. Universities pay for them to be produced, and there is a certain amount of cost in producing video because it's hugely video-based. It's essentially like a book broken down into small videos, and they really are small. None of them are longer than about 10 minutes. So it's that kind of bite-size, just have a chunk here and a chunk there. You don't have to sit through long, tedious lectures. It had to pass through the university's assessment, went through the learning, teaching and assessment subcommittee to be approved. So that was hurdle number one, really, was to get a course on the authorship question approved through the University of London. The chair of that committee said it was engaging, really engaged critical thinking and really added something to literary studies. So that was heartening to hear. In the sort of months, I was waiting sort of for it to get approval in the month before it was due to go live. So here it is. This is just, as I say, the front page. This free course from the University of London explores critical thinking and the interpretation of text through the Shakespeare Authorship Question. Using doubt about Shakespeare's authorship as our playground, we will explore the key concept of authorship attribution while developing skills in literary analysis, interpretation, and argument, etc. I'm just going to give you a little overview. These are the four kind of constituent parts of any MOOC on Coursera. So you have two lots of videos. You have bite-sized lectures. They're all delivered by me, written and filmed. And then there are some video interviews of some people who will be quite familiar to you if you've been coming to this conference for a couple of years. Obviously, Sir Mark Rylance and Professor Bill Leahy and Alexander Waugh, Greg Thompson and Peter Dawkins were all interviewed, as well as a neuroscientist who has got no skin in the game, who I'm very keen on his work on belief and how people form beliefs. So we have that at the beginning. In terms of how they actually make up the course, I would say the bite-sized lectures are the largest part of the course. The discussion forums I've made very small. I would almost cross that out. We'll come to why later. I intended it as a candidate-neutral course. That is to say, it doesn't favour any particular candidate to the authorship. Of course, that doesn't mean it's neutral as regards Shakespeare of Stratford. There were some complaints that I was biased because I wasn't giving him equal treatment as a candidate. But the problem being, of course, he's not a candidate, he's the incumbent. So it is a questioning course, and the very fact that it questions Shakespeare's authorship obviously can be seen as bias. So I've had to defend myself against accusations of bias for that reason. But essentially it's taking the question, and much like it sort of really has come out of my work on Shakespeare, the evidence, the huge ebook, that I'm looking at the arguments made on both sides and looking at counter-arguments to those. And I suppose probably taking more of a line on it in this, because I'm saying what I think is strong and what I think is weak. It's a 4-week course, although you don't have to do it in 4 weeks. You can take absolutely as long as you like. But there's sort of about 4 hours of learning in each week. Understanding the question takes a whole week. But I feel we had to sort of set the ground out, and actually some interesting sort of fundamentals in week 1. And then the man and the author, week 2, the evidence from Stratford-upon-Avon, week 3, week 4, we look at the first folio. Very quickly, in understanding the question, you've got the main arguments, you've got broker theory, we look at poet ape. Week 2, we look at hand D, very important to drill into hand D, and the claim that this is Shakespeare's handwriting. Look at author concealment, evidence for author concealment in Elizabethan England. The coat of arms argument, that was fairly recently made by a couple of people at the Folger Library who thought it would settle the question once and for all, which people often say, don't they? This will sort out the question for once and for all. It's like, it really won't. Robert Greene's Upstart Crow, look into that. And there's always, you'll notice I don't mention interviews, but at the end of each section there are interviews with the people mentioned. The evidence from Stratford-upon-Avon, so his close associates or people that have been thought to be his close associates, obviously his son-in-law, Dr. John Hall, Michael Drayton, and others. We look at literacy and education relating to Shakespeare of Stratford and his daughters. The claim that there are Warwickshire references and local references in the plays and Warwickshire dialect, and then the claim that the Stratford monument has been changed and used to represent a grain merchant. And then in the final week we look at the links between Shakespeare and the first folio. We look at the authors of the first folio, which is to say the prefatory material added in, the poems at the front, the Droeshout portrait, the links between the folio and Stratford-upon-Avon, and Johnson's eulogy to Shakespeare. So that's it really. It was launched February the 20th this year. We have had 6,300 total visitors and active learners, according to Coursera's definition, people who are working their way through the course, 1,500. So that's the current state of play. Here's some reviews. I'm only going to show you the good ones. You will see that because I'm a positive person. Yes, 5 stars, 4 stars. It is overall rated 4.3. Out of 5, but with the 62 ratings, and that is including, as you can imagine, quite a few very angry 1-star ratings, saying that I'm an appalling human being and I have brought my university into disrepute, and that it's all nonsense, obviously. So I'm not going to mention those, but actually the response has been extremely good, despite those. I will say we did have to take a couple down because they were actually defaming and I could show that they were. So 62 ratings is very low considering how many people have actually completed the course so far. So if you did fancy doing it and doing a rating, or if you've done it and you haven't rated it and put a little review, please do. It all helps. We have had, just to make me feel happier about it, we've had obviously very angry people, not necessarily with a banana, but very cross about the whole thing, who were right off the bat. They were so quick on it. They were there. They obviously knew it was coming. They were registered. They were on the forum, and they were ready to take down any dissent, any doubt, and it made the forums extremely difficult to manage. I had a lovely Robin Williams with me trying to navigate the what can you call it? The sort of toxic bloodbath that happens anytime anyone tries to discuss the authorship question online. I was sincerely hoping we could make it into some sort of positive place where we could talk sensibly about it, but there are sort of 5 or 6 people who are associated with oxfraud.com who have made it their life's mission to destroy any discussion of the authorship question, and unfortunately I'm not allowed to ban them. So the forums are pretty much not worth taking part in, unfortunately. I didn't really make it for them, obviously. I kind of knew they wouldn't like it. I made it for these people curious to understand the reasons for authorship doubt, just generally interested, why do people doubt? Doubters who were already committed doubters looking to deepen their knowledge or improve their arguments, and Stratfordians maybe looking to deepen their knowledge or improve their arguments. It's always very helpful to know what the other side is saying. I would say in terms of people who've taken the course, it's probably more like that. Well, I'm not sure quite how, these may not be to scale. That's all I'm saying. I don't know how many Stratfordians looking to deepen their knowledge or improve their... There have definitely been some Stratfordians looking to destroy all doubt. And I don't think that's possible. But there we are. Learner stories as well. I like some of these. We'll do these quickly. Your course opened a new world for me concerning the study of Shakespeare and Elizabethan England. I am gobsmacked by the complexity of the authorship question, and your course has provided a new direction for my personal scholarship. So, your lectures are particularly engaging. Thank you. Your presentation skills are clear, well-paced, and completely devoid of verbal anesthesia. Thank you for the time and effort you put it forward in creating this course. I've always enjoyed the plays of Shakespeare and have questioned their authorship. This course was a great way to approach the subject and helped to further my personal understanding. I enjoyed your course. It was intensive. It is intensive. It is really, there's a lot in it, I'm telling you. Full of valuable information. I learned stuff. I think I know stuff, and then I listen to other people and read other things. I think, I still don't know it all. I'm still trying, but it was intensive, full of valuable information, and I like your logical, systematic approach to the complex Shakespeare authorship problem. This is where I bring in my IT and sort of, computer-related skills, that logical stuff. Structuring the material was one of the big challenges making the course. And I've just completed this course, found it to be very engaging and thought-provoking, and I have recommended it to some family members. I hope they appreciated it. Not everybody does. Until I took your course, I love this one, I was a victim of cognitive dissonance. I refused my daughter's request to see Anonymous with her. I dismissed doubters without listening to their arguments, but your presentations showed me the other side and taught me to listen with an open mind to ideas that I oppose on a purely emotional basis. Now that I count as a success. So there we go. If you're interested, if you'd like to take all or part of the course or send people that way, that's how you do it, coursera.org/learn/Shakespeare. No one else had taken the tag yet, so that's the MOOC.